Hey everybody, this is Roger with Roger's Reviews, and today we're going to talk about living with no regrets. And if you think about it, there's a lot of things you've probably done a little bit differently, and things that you look back and you wish you would have knew, had the knowledge when you were younger, what you have when you're older. And so you get a point in your life where you're thinking, what's worth doing? What should I do to, live my life to the fullest? How much money do I want to make? How do I want to live? On and on and on. And then you get to some point where you're like, you know what? I just need to enjoy what I have and basically live my life with no regrets. And so basically this is kind of like for my own personal use, but I figured maybe somebody out there might get some use from it. And it's just looking at things at a different perspective, because earlier in life you're just trying to basically enjoy your life, and then you get to a point where you have to start working, and then you're in a survival mode and you're just trying to basically do whatever you can to make enough money to support yourself. And then you get to another stage of your life where you kind of have all your creature comforts, and then your health isn't like what it used to because you're really active, and usually your jobs are active. And then as you get older, you take more sedentary jobs, and you're not as active, and then you start gaining weight, and you have to watch what you eat and all that stuff. But anyway, when I turned like 51, basically I started thinking about a lot of things, and looking at once you have children, and then you start really thinking about your life, and what maybe you would have changed, and maybe you can look back and learn a lot and use all that information to make better decisions in the future. And so I watched a couple videos, and I kind of try to condense it down. So basically, to live your life with no regrets, you basically try to be the best person you can, be the best human you can, and no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you lead by example, because you got to do what you say. So you try to work hard, you try to do the right things, make the right decisions, and hopefully the people around you will basically they'll follow along if you're doing the right thing. Also too, I decided to start minimalizing everything, and with all this COVID stuff, and you have a lot more time to just think about things, and really I had a lot of stuff that I didn't need. And so I'm not a minimalist, but I'm kind of heading towards that way. More focus on relationships rather than material things. And basically, the more things you have, the more things you have to worry about. So if you basically go through and try to eliminate all that extra stuff, because everything you have takes time and energy. So the more things you have, the more maintenance you have, the more time it takes away from the important things. So these are kind of my goals too, is basically become more minimalistic and focus more on family relationships instead of material things. And also to spend more time helping people to teach themselves, because it's kind of like the saying is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Or you can feed a man one day, but if you teach him to fish, he can feed himself. So I try to I've had a lot of employees or people that I work with, and they seem to live day to day, and they can't seem to get their stuff together. And it's really hard, because people have a different mindset. When you're like 20 or 30 years old, you're just living day to day. You want to make money, you want to go party, you want to just buy things. But if you have the mindset where, I always tell people every time I meet them, they're like, oh man, that's a nice car, that's nice this, that's nice that, or, how did you get started, or, how can I be where you're at, and most of the younger people, they don't want to work for 10 or 20 years. They just want to be where you're at now. But they were never taught, like I was never taught. I went through high school, I went through business management, I went to college, I took accounting, statistics, basically an associate's degree in business. I went to financial classes where we read the Wall Street Journal, but nobody ever taught me or said anything about investing. It was like, basically, this is what rich people do. Rich people invest in this. They read the Wall Street Journal. But I don't think anybody that taught the class really was an investor themselves. They were just working class people, and they knew that rich people read the Wall Street Journal, and that was about it. So whenever I meet people, like younger people that seem like they have a fire or they want to get ahead in life, I always try to encourage them to live a little bit less glamorous and save money and invest. Because if you basically spend all your money buying cars, rings, and being flashy when you're younger, and clear up through your 30s, because that's where you really start making money, in your 20s and 30s, and then as you're in your 40s and 50s, that money should accumulate, and hopefully you can retire early. So I always encourage younger people not to basically spend all their money frivolously on things just to keep up with the Joneses, because everybody has the newest cars, the newest computers, the fastest this, the fastest that, and everybody wants a Tesla. So a lot of the younger people I talk to, basically they're just going to save their money and buy a Tesla, and but it never happens because they don't invest their money. And so Teslas are very expensive, like especially like until they make the $25,000 car, you're talking like 40 or 50 grand. Plus, you got to add on the the self-driving package. So, I mean, the minimum car before is like, say you buy the cheapest Model 3 you can, you're talking like $36,000, and then self-driving package 10 grand. So there's 46,000. So you're almost talking $50,000, which, I mean, it's a lot of money usually to somebody in their 20s, and it's really hard to save that. That's almost like saving for a house, because that's the price of a house when I was growing up, like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. So basically, they're trying to save for a house in this economy, which is like almost impossible. So I always, like, when I've taken my daughter through a drive-through or something in the Tesla, everybody always asks me like how much the car was, and how do I like it, and they'd love to have one. And I always encourage them, hey, if you want one of these cars, I don't care what you have to do. Like, I don't care, like, it's like, don't buy a regular car, just go without as much as you can for as long as you can, and save and invest, because that is the only way, especially when you're starting out at the bottom, that you're going to move up. But everybody wants to be up there, but they don't know how to get from here to here. And a lot of it is just basically sacrifice. You have to live below your means in order to save and invest to get to the next level. But a lot of people do not want to go without anything, because, I mean, I rode a bike and a scooter, and, basically lived out of a warehouse for years, and saved my money and invested in equipment, and basically poured my soul into my company and built the business up. And there's a few things I would have did differently, but I'm glad I got the knowledge. But I would have invested more into stocks rather than just buying a bunch of equipment. I would have been a little bit more frugal, and I would have put more money into investing and in stocks and stuff, rather than just buying a bunch of equipment. But anyway, that's a different story. So spend time in your relationships, and also that, I mean, personally and in business, because I've had so many people that I know that help me in my business. I mean, I have a really good relationship with my tire guy. If I pick up the phone, he's there. I have a good relationship with my mechanics. I have a good relationship with, my loader truck, my crane guy. Each one of those people are an intricate part in your business. And if you show, integrity, and you pay them on time, and you always do what you say, those people are going to be there for you. Because a lot of these guys, they can't find good companies to work with, and they can't find anybody they can trust. So if they find like a person like you that does exactly what they say, they're there on time, and they pay on time, you are going to get priority. But another thing is, like, when you get older, you start thinking about, like what you would have did differently, especially when you get, past 40. Some people think about this earlier in life, but if you can do anything, or you can think about, a good process to make decisions, you always think about what would I do differently, or what decision would I make, and how am I going to live each and every day, so when I look back and I'm 89 years old or whatever, I'm not going to have a regret or want to make changes differently. I want to look back at my life and know that I made the right decisions to basically make the world a better place, make the best future for my family, and make everything a lot more secure. So, the friends, family, and people in my life basically, will be a lot more secure from the decisions I've made. And, basically, I mean, you can't always like support everybody and make enough money to basically, take care of everyone, but you want to make the right decisions. So basically those people will follow suit, and they'll make the right decisions. So every decision and everything you do affects everybody, especially in your tight group. And you want to make decisions to where when you're older, you're basically going to say, I made the decision. I do not regret anything I've done. I did the best I could, and I did the right decisions to basically, help my family. And also too, you don't, you want to be a good person, and you want to eliminate those people around you that help basically make you, put you in a bad position. And also too, I think just by surrounding yourself with good people and everybody with that same mindset, trying to get ahead, trying to build a better future, and basically build a good relationships with their family. Those are the people you want to be around, because if you start hanging around or start associating with people that don't have a good mindset, and also too, you need people that are already where you want to be, and you want to basically keep communication with them, and you want to have people that where you're at, and then you just want to have a few people that you're trying to help, because you get overwhelmed, and if you hang out with the wrong people, basically it's going to drag you down. So you want to keep a good association with people that are where you want to be and have the same mindset, and teach people. Like, a lot of people keep their secrets. Like, I try to share what I know, so people can skip a step. A lot of people you meet in business or in life, they don't want to tell you how to get to the next level. And even like my grandfather, he had, investments, he had CDs, he was set, he lived very frugally, he saved a lot of money, so he didn't have those financial problems later in life. So, but he never shared that with us. He never shared that with my parents. He never shared it with his grandkids. So I want to basically, just by making this video, hopefully, the people that are, that want to learn or want to take that next step, at least I make the effort to try to share my knowledge. I'm just a tree guy that learned later in life about investing, but hopefully, like when my daughter gets of age, she'll be in a better position at a younger age than I was. So I want to teach people like what I've learned earlier in life. Like I have another guy that he's just starting his tree service, and sometimes he probably gets upset with me, but I try to tell him, like, listen, like that's not exactly what you should do, and then what's your 5-year plan, and what are the steps in the process of you doing this? And I try to, basically keep him from making the mistakes that I made. And a lot of times when people are telling you something, they don't always know that you have your best interest in mind. That's the reason you have to be consistent, and you have to make good decisions, and you have to let them know, through time, that everything you tell them and every recommendation that you give them is in their best interest. Because in this day and time, hardly anybody has your best interest in mind. Everybody's like basically trying to get over on you or backstab you or mislead you. And it's really, if you find somebody that has your best interest in mind and wants you to succeed, hang on to that person. Like, do not lose contact with that person, and don't lie, or like keep your word with that person, because that's the most important thing. Because in life, when you start out, you don't have anything, and the only thing you have is your word. So you try to keep that, especially with the people that are where you're trying to get. Because once you start messing up those relationships, they're really hard to find, and a lot of times you'll lose that opportunity of a lifetime. So you want to try to spend as much time as you can with people that are where you want to be. And then you want to also help people improve their lives by giving them information that they might not have had without your input. So my goal is to basically, from this point on, try to give the best information and try to share, my past and experience, and especially with other tree guys, to let them know, younger guys, there's there's a lot of older tree guys that are probably going to be getting out of the business, and I'm actually one of the younger tree services that have been around over 20 years. So the next generation is going to take control. Like the people that are in the 30s, their work ethic is a lot different. So I'm kind of like in the middle. There's a lot of older guys that are retiring. There's a lot of new guys coming in. There's not a lot of people in my age group. They're either older or younger. So I'm kind of like caught in the middle. So I kind of have a different understanding of, the old school guys and the new school guys. I'm kind of like in the middle. So I think I have a lot different perspective and a lot different train of thought. And I don't have like some of these guys have like $10 million of equipment. They keep buying more equipment. And then you have the guys that don't have nothing and are just starting out. So I'm kind of in the middle. I chose not to grow and basically get huge and have a bunch of debt. I chose to basically stay small, pay off all my equipment, and teach others basically what I'm doing. And staying small, spending more time, having more time to spend with family, having more time to spend and build relationships, and basically be more profitable at a smaller level. And I chose to, instead of investing and growing in the tree service, I chose to invest in Tesla. So I'm kind of happy as far as like where my tree service is at. I just want to maintain or maybe grow a little bit and just become more and more efficient and more profitable, but not necessarily grow. Just basically grow our profit without growing our expenditures. And after a few years, every single thing I'll have will be paid off. And so we're going to be able to pick and choose our jobs and basically make videos. And as the YouTube revenue increases and the revenue off the investments increase, it'll put less pressure on our business. So basically it'll be self-sustaining, and we'll be able to go out and help people that couldn't normally afford us or in a bad situation. So we can actually, just be a more positive business to our community. And anyway, I think I covered pretty much everything: investing, education, living under your means, basically try to make your business renewable. In the future, that's another reason why I haven't bought a lot of equipment lately, is because we're right in the middle of a lot of change. Right now, like most of the equipment is diesel or gas powered, and it's kind of about to change. We're kind of behind. If you look at in Europe or any other part of the world, we're like a little bit behind. So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, just like EVs and electric vehicles, everything's changing to electric. The same thing's going to happen, maybe a little bit slower in the or maybe faster. It just depends how fast this stuff comes over here. But eventually there will be electric skid steers, electric mini skids. The trucks will be electric, and some maybe like there'll be some equipment that probably is both maybe hybrids. So I'm not sure exactly. It just depends on energy density and how the batteries improve and the charging mechanisms, how fast they charge. But I don't think it's a good idea right now to invest a lot of money into brand new diesel and brand new gas equipment, because I think in the very near future, it's going to be a lot of this is going to change, and you're going to have outdated equipment. So that's the reason I'm also not buying a bunch of stuff right now, because I'm kind of happy with what I have, and eventually I'm going to slowly start transitioning to electric, because we already have 2 electric cars that we use for estimates and personal driving. We have a Tesla that we use for long trips, and then I have a Tesla Cybertruck on order that's going to basically eliminate 2 or 3 of our other trucks. We already have electric chainsaws that we use. We also have electric blowers we use almost every day. And we're just ordered electric log splitter. So we're slowly moving in that direction. And it's a little bit slower than I'd like, but you know, some of the transition equipment is expensive. Eventually I want to get electric mini skid, maybe 2. So basically we'll have an electric truck pulling 2 electric skids with electric chainsaws and electric blowers. So eventually we'll be at that point. And also too, it's a lot quieter. So a lot of times when you're working around residents, people don't want to hear chainsaw. We don't hear diesel motors. They don't want to hear all that, you know, high pitched and very loud noises. So also too, if you're in a tight community where there's like maybe older folks and they're all at home all the time, they're not going to want to hear that noise. And I think eventually that it'll be preferred that, you know, you won't be able to allow to go in the property unless you have the majority of your equipment is electric. So anyway, I know this is running on. This is almost half an hour, but I just wanted to share those thoughts with you. I'm about to race this board, and I have a few other things I want to talk about. So I just wanted to get it in while I had time. So anyway, this is Roger with Roger's Reviews and Tree Life Tree Service, and the transition to sustainable energy, even in the tree business, believe it or not. So anyway, crush the like button and subscribe, and hopefully you can follow us through the process. God bless and happy holidays.